Welcome back to Football Coach, episode 45. I'm nervous about this season for a couple of reasons. One, young quarterback. Two, we need to win 7 games according to the promises we made to 2 players. Last season, I do think we would have had 7 wins had we been able to stay healthy. We got 5. And I think repeating that is certainly possible. Even with a young quarterback, I think getting 5 is logical. And I think if we can stay healthy, we have a shot at 7. But because of the young quarterback and because of that demand, I am nervous for this season because I have a feeling we're going to come up a little bit short. I do think we can replicate 5 wins, but I'm not sure about 7. Really not sure about 7. That's asking a lot. So we could be taking a pretty big coach integrity hit in the coming year. But let's see what we have for off-season gains here in just a moment. We have 4 guys already in the 80 plus. We got 3 guys at 79. So we will have plenty of players with development, topping that 80. And I think we'll be just fine overall as a team. But regardless, we're going to have a young quarterback who's not going to be amazing. Prior to off-season development, we're looking at a 75 for the redshirt junior. We're only going to get 2 years with him. If he gets really good development, we'll be at a 79 or an 80. That's not too bad. That is not too bad. That's better than a lot of years where we have a new quarterback taking over. We've had redshirt sophomores the last 2-3 times in a row. And, had that 1 year where they kind of had to settle into that starter role. And then by the next year, they were fine. Well, I think we're starting right off the bat into that next year is fine category. Holy crap, we have a plus 11. And it's not a senior. It's a junior. We have a plus 11. 79 to a 90 overall. Weston Lynn, who we made the promise of 7 games. He's going to do his best to help us get there, isn't he? Our other guy with the win 7 games promise, they're our 2 best players. They are our 2 best players. It's a plus 4 for Norman. Burton only a plus 2, but that is a kicker after all. And he was already an 85, so for him to jump to an 87, we're looking at kick power of 87 and kick accuracy 91. Punt, good at 85, 82, but I'm hoping that with an easier schedule, we're going to be kicking field goals more frequently than we are attempting punts, and therefore he should do a pretty dang good job. And there's already, we're looking at our 6 best players at 83. How many years in this playthrough have we not even had an 83 on the roster? There's definitely been some years, especially in those early years. How many times has 83 been about our 2nd best player on roster? So looking pretty good on the top of the list. How many guys do we have in the 80 plus? Only 11 this year, though. That is down just a little bit from previous years. But we've got an additional, 4 guys at 79 and an additional 4 or 5 at 78. So, it's still a good year with a lot of depth. 75 plus is down to 33rd. We got 50 guys at a 70 plus out of our 85. And we do have 3, though, that remain below a 60. All true freshmen coming in, of course. As you would expect. That plus 11 was our biggest jump. No surprise by that. But a couple plus 8s, a plus 7, and a wide number of plus 6s behind them. Can't wait till we can get those facilities up another level and see another, 5 guys getting another plus 1 or plus 2, and see us just get that little bit more each and every season. Plus 3 and above was 65 players. Plus 2 got us all the way to 82. Just 3 guys with a plus 1. It's a safety. It's a kicker. Oh, okay. Whew. It's a redshirt junior quarterback. I just deflated very quickly. I was heartbroken. And then I looked over and it was a 71 overall. A plus potential. Now an A potential. He gained +1. Pitiful. Now, kickers, you're not as surprised by that. A safety. Here's what we're talking about. Lower potential, lower gain. Even for a senior year, we still only got a +1. But an 82 overall safety is an 82 overall safety. And an 80 overall kicker is 80 overall. So 2 of those 3 you don't mind because they have made it to 80. But a corner who's already dropped off from a B- with high durability, but is already dropped off to a C+ and only gained +2, that's somebody who could very well get cut. However, the durability part is difficult to part ways with at the moment. There's another big negative. We got a quarterback. The quarterback signing from this class. A +2 and a drop in potential and not great durability in the first place. That's somebody who's a candidate to get cut. Easy enough to find other quarterbacks to come in, like these guys, who have both seen a drop in their potential and only gotten +2s. Rough for our quarterback class. And speaking of rough, there is our redshirt junior, Brian Pierce, set to be the starter. He only gained a +2. He gained potential, but I mean, come on, I don't care about that at this point. Durability went up, though, up to a B-, so we saw an increase in durability. Shocking. He's got good IQ and an okay arm. He's got some speed and evasion, which is certainly helpful. Our last couple of quarterbacks were very much pocket guys. Ball carrier vision and ball security are tolerable. I'm still nervous about that quarterback position, but at 77, it's okay. We can train him up a little bit. At least one session. Our arm strength, we're only +1 on the accuracy. I might focus on the accuracy, get it on target, right? Decent first week with 4 out of 6 getting the breakthroughs, and a few really good breakthroughs at that. I mean, actually all 4 breakthroughs were a 5 or better. The unfortunate part was we really needed the breakthrough on the quarterback, on Pierce. He gets an accuracy +2. The odds were not in my favor this week. The average breakthrough chance was about 63 to 64% across the 6 athletes that we went for, and only 3 succeeded. So below what would have been the expected, and the breakthroughs weren't massive. We got a 4, a 6, and a 3 on the breakthroughs we had. The one big one, though, was a route running +6 to a young redshirt sophomore wide receiver who jumped from our 3rd best to our 2nd best. We've got a good jump, though, for an offensive lineman, a redshirt sophomore, who also jumped up the list. Now an 87 overall for an offensive lineman. We've got some good linemen this year. Our tight end's an 80. We've got a wide receiver, a couple of them at 80. So pretty okay. Or no, actually, he's our first one at an 80. That's one thing that might hurt this season a little bit, is we've got plenty of depth at wide receiver, but our top end is lacking a real standout kind of guy in that mid-80s plus kind of category that you can really rely on to be a target. But we've got a redshirt freshman wide receiver at a 77 overall already, and he's probably 6th or 7th on the list. Oh, gosh, he's taken a huge dump in durability, dropping to a D+, though. It's a redshirt freshman. How do they lose that much durability in 1 or 2 years when they haven't even played it down? It's been a bad year for the recommended targets as I went through like 25, all of the 3 stars and above, and then all of the offensive linemen, regardless of star rating, that appeared on that list. And from about 25, we got 2 B-, a linebacker and a running back. At least they're both loyal, and they're both okay. 3 stars, and we'll compete for them. But at B-, like, how invested will I be? Probably not that invested. And then I went through lots of offensive linemen and found a pretty good list. We're guys 3 through 11. There are a couple C pluses. There's a few we don't know yet, but one of those was a 4-star 18th lineman, 68 overall already. So even if the potential's not there, we're talking about somebody with a good amount of quality. Here's a 66 overall. So we're looking at two guys that are way ahead of the curve, and we've jumped in to the head of the list. I mean, of course, it's very, very tight here, and the others are active and going for it, and it's going to be hard to hold them off. But looking at that group, that's the kind of group that you might be able to take on. That's a group that you might be able to take on. This group, you could take on most of them. Arizona State's going to be a little bit harder. USC is going to be really hard if they want to go for it. They're probably a little too much quality in this group, but we'll see what emerges. But looking pretty good on the first offensive lineman set. And, there's a number of guys where we are already first or second after literally 1 week. That is good. That is good. And the recommended ones, we're not even high up on their list at all at this stage. So they're much, much lower down. We didn't pitch them in the first week, but regardless, it's not looking great for them. So bad year for the recommendeds, but good year for the first week of scouting offensive linemen, where we apparently need 5. We need 5. I don't know about that. We'll sign 3 to 4 this year. As a result, that's what we'll target. I doubt we're going to get to 5, but yeah, a lot of holes to fill everywhere else, though. But needs are very low. We have this revolving door. We're getting at least 1 at every position, besides kicker, every single year. Sometimes 2. D-line, linebacker, of course, we always tend to get a little bit more there. We get a couple at each of those, but we keep it balanced, and we keep that flow coming in every year, and it's almost always high school guys or freshman transfers, and so, it keeps that revolving door, and we haven't had that many transfer out. I don't cut that many. It keeps us revolving door, and there hasn't been guys to cut because for the most part we've had high potential. The one downside has been just that massive rapid drop off in durability of a lot of players in our program. I was very tempted to turn injuries down from realistic to normal. We'll see how this season goes, and if it's as bad as last season was with the injuries, we might just do that, because I have been focusing on durability as a key factor. I ignored it in the early seasons, so I really can't judge those seasons at all. If we had a lot of injuries, we had a lot of guys with poor durability. I was just focused on potential. Now that I do focus on it, and we recruit it, we bring guys in with high durability, and then 2 years later, they're in the gutter without ever even having had an injury, to see that durability decline, it's like, come on, get real. That's not realistic if your durability drops off like that. Now, having a major injury once will impact durability. I should know. I've torn 2 ligaments playing soccer and had 6 concussions. My durability sucks after all of that. It used to be great. So I get it. You get older, it's going to decline gradually. You get a major injury, it's going to decline. But we get guys that have never even played a freaking down, never had an injury, and their durability is suddenly down to a D when it was a B or higher when we signed them. Come on. Anyway, we'll see how this year goes. If it's anywhere, if it's half as bad as what we had last year, and the AI teams aren't suffering in the same way we are. You look at that head-to-head matchup, and we've got 6 guys injured, with 3 of them major injuries, and they've got 1 guy hurt with a minor injury. And it's, 6th on the depth chart. And they don't worry about the durability when they're making their signings, or so it would seem. They'll sign the guy with the F durability, and they don't seem to get hurt. Just 3 this week, but the odds were a little lower, at least on one of them, because I did go after our quarterback again, this time aiming for arm strength. He does not get a breakthrough, he gets the +1. For him, it was unlikely, but even for everybody else, we were only 2 for 5. Make that 3 for 5. So I guess for everybody else, we were kind of on target. That's 60%, right? But then we failed on Pierce, keeping us at 3 of 6. So defensive IQ a +5, strength +4, strength +3. So it's actually a week. It's another second in a row lower development session where we didn't get much, and we went for a few true freshmen in this one where we really only went for a couple impact kind of guys. But Cheney, our redshirt sophomore cornerback, who we did successfully redshirt last year after he was one of the ones who had the difficulty the year before, so he wanted playing time. We've promised that. He's an 81, so he's solid. He got a +5 to defensive IQ. Definitely a bit of a boost for him. But yeah, Pierce, we're not getting anywhere with this guy. And with a pitiful week of just 2 breakthroughs, we have matched our worst season ever with only a +12, 50% overall. Part of the odds on that lowered by Pierce getting 3 sessions over the period, right? Those last 2 definitely having lower odds. But let's say we get one of those. Ooh, it's a 13. That had been our record until a couple seasons ago. But having these newer coaches with the lower training levels, it is hurting. Last year was certainly better, though, as we had 18. This year we get 12. That really doesn't help. And, oh, right, by the way, the breakthroughs, +3 speed to a freshman wide receiver. At least we got a +7 tackling to a redshirt freshman quarterback. Everybody in the group this week was a 70+, including our redshirt junior kicker, who gets a +2 to his punt accuracy. But with a quarterback IQ +1, at least Pierce is finally broken from a 77 to a 78 overall. That was the minimum I was hoping for the year. We gave him +2 accuracy, +1 arm strength, and +1 quarterback IQ over 3 sessions. New donor bonus objectives for the year: hold at least one opponent to 275 passing yards or fewer. I could see us doing that in the first couple of games. 750K, but hey, it's 750K. The other one, $1.5 million for a very specific run for 140+ rushing yards against USF. South Florida, that's not going to be easy. Right? We did not do 140+ yards very often last season, but it could be doable, especially if I manage the game directly and go a bit rush heavy. I think we could get there. We're just going to have to focus on that game. It's an extra $1.5 million. I think we can go for it. Could cost us the game by going for it, but South Florida is going to be the favorites anyway. We do have a fairly good offensive line, and of course we do have a good running back in Norman this year. So yeah, we might be able to do that. The conference norm, of course, is that win 3 games. I think we'll have no problem doing that. Our coach opinion should go up. Really? I knew the quarterback would be a little bit of an issue and the receiver skill this year, but we still have an 81 for offensive talent. I did not realize just how big of a rebuild we were in for the defense. Did not realize that it was all the way down to a 78 this year. 81, 78 overall. Not very good. Not very good. Quarterback play at a 78, rushing skill 84. Run blocking 85, receiver skill 79, but pass protection at an elite 87 will give extra time. It will give some boost to that quarterback and receiver skill with just more time for a guy to get open and more time for a quarterback to find him. Defensively, though, pass rush 80, run stop 78, man coverage 83, zone coverage 79, and tackling 79. Really off here. This is by far the weakest our defense has been in quite some seasons. Field goal kicking at 89, punting at 85, and kick and punt return at 88 is fairly good. But yeah, that's a little bit surprising. I did not realize just how far we had dropped off. on the defensive side of the ball. Starters by class, there's almost as many juniors starting as there are seniors, and there's definitely a fair few underclassmen starting as well. Players by class, it's a young group. Okay, seniors just 17%, 23% for the juniors, 17 for the sophomores as well, same as the senior class. A lot of freshmen. And breaking that puppy down, right? No senior quarterback. We got a 78 for our junior. A 71 for a redshirt freshman is my hope for the future. He'll have to make it through next year. Well, as long as he doesn't do the wants playing time this year, we'll be okay, because Pierce will be a senior next year. So as a sophomore, if he's like, I want playing time, that's something we would be able to promise him, unless Massey makes a massive jump to overtake Pearson. Pearson's the guy. Would be the guy his junior year as starter, and as a 71, you'd think he'd get a +7 over the next 2 years. Hopefully. Quarterbacks took a really, really tiny jump this year, though. But as for running back, we're okay for next year. I mean, Norman's great at an 89. Behind him, we're lacking a little bit of depth, but Douglas will be okay. He'll be 83, 84 next year. Lindsay will be also okay, and Thorpe for the future should be pretty good. Wide receiver was a big surprise, though, for me. I did not expect us to be below an 80. But Garner's the only senior, so you got two guys that are going to be, about an 83 next year. Plus Green, multiple years, and Mills, multiple years, and Ellis and Hutchins are already looking pretty good. This is a down year. We went through a couple really bad recruiting years for wide receiver. Now, this is the year where we feel the pain of that. The last couple of years have been better, including some transfers that we've been able to pick up. But this is the year where we're suffering for those couple really, really hard years of recruiting. Tight end, Rollins is the guy, and he's a junior. So I'm happy for the next couple of years. We'll see how those guys develop. Offensive line, strongest it's looked in quite some time, especially with 4 guys in 83 plus, and then plenty of mid-70s behind them. Not quite down to the end of that offensive line depth chart, but look at all that young talent coming in. So I think we'll be pretty good for a number of years. And especially when our 2 best are not seniors. Kicker, good for the foreseeable future. D-line, this year is about the same as last year, and only 1 senior. And Whitaker looks great. We're making some progress. A lot of young guys. A couple will eventually have to be cut. Linebacker, disappointing that nobody is an 80 plus this year. Disappointing that there are 5 seniors, and 4 of them are between a 75 and a 78. That's where they should be for junior year. Looking at the guys behind him, you got a 72, a 71, and a 71 waiting in the wings to take over those starting roles. Just disappointing that this group is so big and yet so poorly developed. Corner, same thing. Big drop off from where we've been. We've been consistently in the mid upper 80s with a couple guys, and this group, it just didn't happen. Our seniors did not have a big takeoff like we normally see. Kind of as a whole, there's a lot of seniors in the mid upper 70s this year, where normally we get those guys into the low 80s with big breakthroughs, and it just didn't happen. Our huge breakthrough, our plus 11, is a junior. Cheney is an 81. He's a sophomore. Next year looks fine. The future looks good. This year's just a bit off. Safety, I'm a little worried. I mean, we only have the 182, a couple 78s, but then big drop off. These guys, if somebody gets a good takeoff, they'll be in good shape for next year. But I'm a little worried about the future for the safety position. And this all just kind of came out of nowhere. Just one bad development year for the senior class, and all of a sudden we're hurting this season. I don't think we're going to get anywhere near those 7 wins. I think we'll easily get the 3. Have a feeling we might be in for about a 5-win season if we can stay healthy. We've dropped 2 points in offensive talent. We've dropped 2 points in defensive talent. We were in 83-80 last year. In 83-80, that couldn't stay healthy, though. Defensively, in particular, we spent most of the season as about a 79 or a 78. So, if we could stay healthy, there's no reason we shouldn't get a similar performance, as in 5 wins. And last year it was the quantity of injuries and the time frame, right? That 4 straight games where we were just gutted, especially defensively. So again, if we can stay healthier this season, no reason to think that we wouldn't at least match what we did last year. But it's looking a little rough for us for this particular season to do more than 3, 4, 5 wins. The ranking, we're down about 20 spots, both offensive and defensive. So we are definitely expected to do less this year. But the expectation is to do more, at least according to 2 players. I really think that coach integrity is going to take a massive hit. I do think the athletic director is going to be fine. I think the team's going to be fine. And I think we are going to get that last little bit of prestige we need to get to a prestige level of 2 finally. I still think we're on track for that. It's just, I don't think we're going to get anywhere near those 7 wins that we need. The one throwaway game on the calendar is, of course, USC to open the season. So Douglas is going to actually get the start above Norman. We have a promise of 30% snaps. It's a good way to get started. However, Norman's still going to end up getting a bunch of important situations, 3rd downs, short yardage. Douglas would be the fullback if they're both on the field. But we're going to try to get Douglas a few extra snaps in that first game. But of course, if we 3 and out, he's not going to get very many snaps on offense. But there's still a percentage of snaps, right? It's offensive snaps. Yeah, offensive positions will only count offensive snaps as available. So a few extra snaps for him will help us at least a little bit on keeping that promise. I have not broken it down yet. I'll get it in a second. But wide receivers, here's the thing I'm talking about with this year. 80 is our best guy. He was 3rd on the list, but we got him a healthy jump, the redshirt sophomore, to become our number 1 guy. However, our weakest guy is a 77. There's balance. There's parity in the group, which is nice. But again, durability drops. Come on. Well, there's an A+ for a senior, C+, A-, B+. Some of these guys have held on to their durability. The guy behind them, as a redshirt freshman, isn't too bad either. So we'll be okay. There's only 1 senior. It's just a little strange. The lack of standouts this season. By the way, the game's had a new weather update just in the last couple of days. With sunny is going to be standard, no impact. But if it's windy, you're going to have problems throwing the ball. You're going to have problems kicking long field goals. If it's pouring down rain, right, there's a higher likelihood of fumbles, that sort of thing. Within that in general conditions, and the conditions are taken from real world data for time of year and region. One other thing is it is forecast, so until the game starts it's odds. So here, 0% chance of rain, no problem. It's LA. As USC is top 5 in the country, absolutely no surprise, especially when I played my backup running back in this one. 49-17, the loss to open the season. But from here on out, every game should have at least a moderate chance of victory, and we should be claiming those 3 to 5 victories, and fingers crossed maybe we get lucky and get 7, but I highly doubt that. By the way, in that opening game, as we gave Douglas a chance to get a little bit ahead on snap count, 31 of 59, so we only had 59 offensive plays in that game, which is really low. But he gets 53%, a little bit of an edge over Norman. I figured it wouldn't be too far, the separation, just because Norman is the guy in a number of areas. Now we've got to hope that Douglas can keep things going. But for comparison's sake, 13 carries, 57 yards, 4.5 yards, that's not bad. It's not bad. He is a 79 overall, but Norman, 13 carries, 82 yards, 6.5 yards per carry, and a touchdown. Definitely was the key guy. He would have had more of the share, obviously, if we had that other way around. But smart move to get us going on those snaps. As he's got to play. He's got to play a fair bit. But this guy's got 16. It shouldn't be that hard to get to 30%. Also, the good news for this season, one, we had no injuries in that opening game against USC, so that's a great start, headed in the right direction. But the second thing is, I don't have to worry about the depth chart at all, as long as there's no injuries. If they can stay healthy, I'm not going to have to change the depth chart. There is 0 freshmen, which is good and bad, right? It means we are developing and we have depth, but it also means that none of the freshmen took off and were that amazing. We've got a lot of potential in those guys, but none of them jumped to where they are good enough to be in the rotation. None of them. So as long as everybody's healthy anyway, there's absolutely nothing I need to do. And you can see where we're... Get that fixed. Whew, that was close. There's nothing. I mean, we have depth, right? 77 all the way down to the last guy on the wide receiving corps, but the first one's an 80. Tight end, okay, that's a different matter, but they really don't see the field much, especially the last guy. 73 for our weakest lineman, but it jumps to, very solid top 4. Pretty decent next couple of options. D-line does fall off a bit. Linebacker might not have a great top end, but the bottom end is still a 71. The bottom end at corner is a 75. The bottom end at safety, well, 3 of them are 78 plus, and we're good at all 3 positions here. So it's going to be hit and miss. Fingers crossed we can stay healthy and secure some wins this season. 70% chance of rain. There's 2 different categories. You have kind of regular rain, or you have heavy rain. Heavy rain's going to really, really drastically increase percentages, where we've got a very good chance that it is going to rain. Does this translate as that's a 95% chance of rain, just a 5% chance of no rain? Realistically, because you got 70 and then 25, does that leave 5? Is it a share of 100%? I'm not sure yet. It didn't say in the update notes how that would break down, or whether it's a 30% chance of no rain. Temperature is another factor, right? If it's too hot, players are going to fatigue more quickly and require more use of your depth. But East Carolina, next up for us, they're a 78-77, so we definitely should be the favorites for that game. But as we are on the road, it's only just. Looks like our offense is going to have a fairly healthy advantage, but not major. And defensively, especially the pass protection, we're going to get a lot of pressure on the quarterback in this coming game. Meaning I think we can afford to be a little more aggressive, because their pass game's okay. You don't want to give them time. Take time away, it's going to make things difficult, and they shouldn't have a very good day rushing. It's going to give us a real shot. I mean, offense, defense is pretty close, yet they've got us favored. And we've got a very healthy advantage on the offense. We should be able to put up a lot of points. Optimistic that we could open the league with a victory. New feature unveiled here. It is moderate rain, 73 degrees out, high humidity, but no wind. And here is our exact impact for this game. Moderate rain makes it somewhat harder to grip the ball, kick and throw accurately, and make evasive moves on the field. So individual players, both sides of the ball, are going to struggle a bit more in those areas. Meaning defense is going to have a little bit more of an advantage today. So we are going to open the game with the ball. Throws, less accurate, and runs, bigger chance of dropping the ball. Like either way, it is kind of hurting us, no matter how you look at it. So we will kind of run standard game, at least for this moment, and see how it fares as we do gain 2 yards on the first pass. That is already to Norman, who's then going to carry the ball around the outside and get a very small gain. Tight end attack to go deep. Enough for the first down. Halfback draw. That's a good one. Halfback zone weak. Not going very far on those 2 runs. The bubble screen goes backwards, and so we are forced into a punt. I'm hoping that we can see a lot of 3-and-outs for East Carolina with a weak offense, and that's exactly what's happened on their first drive. In fact, they lost 2 yards. We are showing that we can at least move the ball a bit, but we 3-and-out again, or like them, and nearly gave them a 3-and-out back-to-back as they get their first positive gain of the game. 6 plays in, 16 yards on that pass, though. 3rd and short, and there's the punt. So looking pretty good defensively for us early on, and offensively, we've shown some ability to move the ball. Certainly more than them, but there's a massive 149-yard pass to Jamari Logan, setting up the touchdown, and we trail in a day where scores are going to come at a premium. It took us to 3rd and long there to finally move the ball to midfield. Bubble screen, jet sweep. I have not been paying attention to play calling, so gosh, go backwards. It's going to be really possible to go backwards today. I think that run up the middle is going to be important to avoid going backwards. We back them up very deep and force the punt. That's going to give us very good field position. It does. Wide corner, big gain in the red zone. Back off tackle. There you go. Stick. Back slam. Halfback dive. 18-yard field goal on 4th and 1. No, I'd rather back them up the way things are going anyway. Let's take another shot at it. No gain, but they are on the 1-yard line. 2nd and 7. Let's go a little more aggressive this time, and outside linebacker blitz. We stop them. Incomplete. Cover 1. It's 3rd down. You figure they're going to play pad. Yeah, there we go. We get the ball back. Short field. Another chance at it. We did not get that first score, but we've got 4th and 1. 4th and 1 in the red zone with points coming at a premium. We failed this once, but we're going to go for it again. And again, we fail. Norman. We've got a good offensive line, and yet they are not getting the push that they need. Or Norman is just really struggling. He's not evasive. Because they're not evasive, you can't gain. I don't know what's the case here, but we're suddenly giving away the momentum. So 2 red zone stops for East Carolina, and a team that was doing nothing besides one massive gain, one massive play, is they got the first down. 1st and goal. 2 minutes remaining in the half, and we haven't done nothing. It's field goal. We stopped it for a field goal. They got all the way down to the 2-yard line, and we at least stopped them for the field goal. But we could have 6 points right now. We could have 6 points right now if I had settled, but we could also have 14. Minute 22. We want, up tempo. 49-yard field goal. That's difficult under the circumstances, but we're going to go for it. It's no good. We've now missed 3 opportunities. Come on, defense. What are you doing? We've had such a good half defensively, besides 2 mega gains. No, change the play. Blitz. All or nothing. Under smoke. Nothing. Down 17-0. 17-0 heading into the second half here in just a second. Hail Mary. Hail Mary. Nothing. Down 17 to start the second half, and they get the ball. There it is. First fumble of the day. The increased odds finally resulted in something, and we've got ourselves a short field. Let's run to the inside. Back sweep week. It's not the kind of play that, but it is the kind of play that's actually working. Like anything up the middle, because there's no evasion. I mean, if you're getting good push from the offensive line, you should be getting solid 5-yard gains with a good running back. Bubble screen, 2nd and 8. Sets up a 3rd and short, 3rd and 3. Got it right back. Fumble, picked up. We're right back where we were. Smash Diggs. Bubble. Deep attack. 52-yard field goal. Expected. Oh, I hadn't noticed this. Expected chance, 45%. Well, we really need. It's a very, very, very unlikely field goal, especially with the weather conditions. We need a stop, though, for this to work. 3rd and 4. Gap press, and we can't stop them. End of 3rd quarter. 3rd and long. 4th. Okay. Ball back. This drive is kind of for the game. Like, you don't get it here, you're not going to get it ever. RPO slant on 3rd and long. No freaking thank you. Go very deep. Take a deep shot. We're going to have to punt. The way this game is going, we have to punt. We have 3 damn points. First down. Oh, come on. Now they're getting 10 yards per play. That's game, folks. That's game. Final 31-3. They scored again. Holy crap. First lesson of weather. Negative plays showing up in non-negative play scenarios over and over and over again. We take a small run up the middle with a good offensive line and a good running back, an 89 overall running back, and our interior line is strong. 2 out of 3 anyway on the starters. Very strong. We should easily be getting push against East Carolina. We should have 0 negative plays running up the middle. I think we had more negative plays than we had positive plays trying to run up the middle. Is the weather condition that strong of an impact right now? It feels like it. Feels like it. Our sample is one football game. But for whatever reason, East Carolina, twice in that game, just marched right down the field, no problem. Twice in that game had 70-yard plays. That was the difference in the first half, was the 2 70-yard plays. 70-ish yard plays. But in the second half, they had no problem going down the field. We just could not do anything. Our yards per play was 3.5. We only got 250 yards for the game. The rushing game, 2.3 yards per attempt. What? How in the world did that happen? Pierce was 21 for 35, sacked 3 times. He didn't have any interceptions. He just didn't have a big day. Now, lower accuracy, that's kind of expected. The other guy was 17 of 35, but he had 7.5 yards per attempt because he had 2 massive completions. Otherwise, we were similar. We had to hold somebody to under 275 yards once this year. That's already happened in the first non-top 5 team in the nation game. But Archie got 7 yards per carry on 9 attempts. Norman had 18 carries for 47 yards. What in the world happened? And Douglas, wasn't any better, 3.1 yards per carry. We lost one fumble. That must have been at the end of the game when we sped forward and they got that extra score. They lost two. Same guy, Yates, their running back. But it felt like the impact on the run game was more severe and that they probably had a stronger quarterback than we did. I didn't see what is... Yes, we can see what is their quarterback. Logan, 79 overall. Very similar. We're 78. They just happen to have two massive pass completions. But they also... Right? Archie. He's only a 75. How do you get 9 carries for... Oh, that was before. Before today, he had 9 carries for 17 yards. Their first game, he had 1.9 yards per carry. Today, he had 7. Norman had a rough day. The offensive line had a rough day. They managed to overcome it. I don't know. That first half, those 2 4th-and-1 stops really hurt us. Otherwise, we've got 2 more scores and we've got a different game, right? They got 2 scores right at the end of the fourth quarter when we threw it away, but when it was done and dusted, I don't know. It's not like it was noisy. Their home field advantage was a 2. Rough day, guys. Rough day. Hard to say. Hard to pinpoint exactly where it went wrong other than the run game. The run game wasn't there. Pierce did fine for his, it's not technically his debut, but too many negative plays. Like, we can pinpoint what went wrong, but why that went wrong, it's hard to say. Was it the offensive line not getting a push? Was it Norman not being evasive? Was the evasive penalty too much? What is he without evasion? And even as a freshman, he outdid what he did this year. A big part of his game is evasion. It's 96. How massive was the penalty? Was it a 50 today? Like, he literally couldn't evade anybody? And so he would just have some... Even then, he's got speed and strength. He's got ball carrier vision. He's got ball security. Like, how in the world did this guy get 2 yards a carry? The good news... 2 road games out of the way. We have 5 road games remaining on the season. The other good news thing is that we've had 0 injuries in 2 weeks. So we've got a healthy team going forward. We have our first home game coming up against a Wake Forest team that is also 0-2. Looks like it's going to be raining. I can see the icon back there, but that's as far as we're going to take this one. I got to take a step back and go, what the hell just happened? Take a deep breath and... recoup. Now, the update just happened. This is literally the first game that I've stepped into. So, sample size, tiny. I was planning on recording another episode of this series today, but I think I'm going to hold off just a hair. Let me know in the comments, what are your thoughts on the new weather update? How impactful is it? Did we lose because of the weather update that game? Or were there other factors at play? I feel like that is a game that our offense should have had a pretty significant advantage despite the weather, and yet we walked out of there with a field goal. The lowest scoring game we've had in many a season. Or was something else going on? Was it just bad day at the office? Because no matter what we did, we went nowhere on the ground. And through the air, moved it a little bit. It was a decent day through the air. Anyway, I'm Decathlon Gamer. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Have a good one. Be safe out there. Bye for now.